5 minutes past 8 here on 101.5. We're into the third and final hour of the Brekkie Show. Johnny Waite kicking it off with Missing You. And speaking of missing, my good friend Peter Swampy Marsh is missing in action this morning. It's normally SportsFeva time. I turned to Swampy. He would be limbering up, ready to go for the show. Well, he's not here this morning. He's got a few things on, but he's still going to set aside 10 minutes or so. I'm going to ring him at 8:15 and we'll have a chat about the week that was in Moreton Bay Region Sport. And we call it SportsFeva Light. So it's still you get some of your Thursday morning sporting fix. We'll review what happened in the week that was in Moreton Bay Region Sport. That's about 8:15. I'll get Swampy on the phone. And don't forget, at 8:30, I'll also talk to James Ward, who's the CEO of the Sunshine Coast and Gympie Rugby League, and we'll preview this week ahead in the Sunny Coast Gympie Rugby League. We'll have a look at the games, and that's going to become a regular thing. So if you're out there and you love your Sunny Coast and Gympie Rugby League, and it is a great competition, make sure you tune in at 8:30 every Thursday morning during SportsFeva. We'll have a yarn to James, and we'll preview and review the Sunny Coast Gympie Rugby League every week at 8:30. It's a new addition to the SportsFeva lineup. Looking forward to talking to James every week. That's coming up at 8:30 today. So no Swampy. Well, only a little bit of Swampy for all the big fans of the Swampster out there this morning. You're not going to get your full Swampy fix this morning, but make sure you tune in at 8:15 because I'll get him on the phone. It's 15 minutes past 8 here on a 101.5. It's time now for SportsFeva Light. We just listened to the Angels. Am I ever going to see your face again? Well, Peter Swampy Marsh, am I ever going to see your face again? Where are you this week, mate?
Yeah, he did take a 1 week injury layoff, and then all of a sudden the coaches and the newspapers are asking all these tough questions that you're out for good and all the rest. Your terrible segues in from radio announcers and all the rest. I don't know.
Where are you, Swamp? Where are you? The crowd loves you. Everyone turns off as soon as they hear you're not on the radio.
Unfortunately, I'm bunkered down away close to the city at the moment, Matty, so I'm not able to get into the studio, but still very much SportsFeva in spirit, and still plenty rolling along in local sport that I've been across, despite not being in the studio this morning. I'm sorry.
Fair enough. We will let you off the hook, and we'll run with SportsFeva. SportsFeva Light this morning, as we call it, when you can't make it into the studio. Now, Swamp, we spoke in details about the Finns last week. We had obviously a big weekend, 3 grades at Dolphin Oval on Mother's Day Sunday last Sunday, and our under-18s team, our all-conquering Mel Meninga Cup team, state champions, headed down for the national titles. Mate, fair to say things didn't pan out how we would have liked.
No, look, it started pretty well, didn't it? I think we had early word filter back that the Mel Meninga boys were up 12-zip early, and then the Colts got a win at Dolphin Oval, and then, look, it all went a bit downhill from there, Matty. The fogs dusted significantly, and correct me if I am wrong, but we did see the return of one M. Roberts for that game, didn't we?
Mickey Roberts did return for that game, a bit of a blast from the past. It wouldn't be a season at Dolphin Oval if one of the greats didn't come out of retirement. We've seen it year after year. Adam Starr for a couple of years, Troy Lindsay come out of retirement. Of course, coach of that current side, Grant Fluggy, made a couple of comebacks as well. And now M. Roberts back in the red and white. Alwyn Simpson's another name that's come back in the last couple of years. So it's kind of a traditional thing there at Dolphin Oval for one of the greats to make a comeback about halfway through the season.
Unfortunately, didn't do the job. I don't have the exact score in front of me, but it was a bit of a dusting there. Then word came back, of course, unfortunately, in the Mel Meninga, Balmain did the job there over the Redcliffe boys 24-12 in the big final there, Matty. So unlucky second time there for the Mel Meninga boys.
Yeah, great effort from those guys. Always tough heading down to. We spoke to their assistant coach Tony Vidler through the week, trying to keep those guys grounded, but very tough to back up after winning that state championship, then flying down and having to beat Balmain virtually on their home turf. Very tough game, and a great effort to lead them at half-time, but just run out of legs in the second half. But like we mentioned last week, some promising names in that side. We'll hear a lot more about those boys in years to come in NRL and the like, and even further representative honours are coming away of some of those guys. I've got huge raps on a few of them.
And what a tremendous amount of experience those young men will have got, having played in that competition, having had to get themselves up for not one but two finals in 2 weeks. Real experience there for the Queensland Cup and hopefully the NRL competition going on. So great. They certainly acquitted themselves very well down there despite getting the loss, and no doubt we'll see some of those names in the Q Cup in a couple of years to come, Matt.
And the big thing too now, and they're already going really well. Coach Brendan Lamb's got them going fantastic, but we'll see a few of those guys come into the cult side now that this Melbourne competition is over. A few of those guys like Tyson Cleal, I know for one, and maybe your Deacon Fletchers will certainly come into that Colts lineup now as well.
Fantastic to see. And then, of course, the tough times continued in the Queensland Cup game. It was a bit of a frustrating one from a fan's perspective. North doing the job there over the Dolphins, but the game was really in the balance there, Matty, wasn't it? Until I think it was the 78th minute when the Devils finally took a penalty goal after a string of penalties. Look, I've done the maths with our very good friend John Sloan, and the penalty count wasn't too much in favour of North, but geez, it seemed that way on the day. The Finns couldn't catch a trick, and if it wasn't the ref giving the North a hand with field position or interrupting the Finns attack, they were doing it to themselves with some drop ball and some forward passes and the like. So a pretty frustrating day, you'd say, for the Maplers.
Oh, frustrating, no doubt, Swampy. Let's remember they were 18-0 down after 20 minutes or so, the Dolphins, and that's just too big at Queensland Cup level against quality opposition like North. Let's remember North had some very big ins as well. Danan Maslui, of course, back from injury. Scott Anderson was dropped back from the Broncos to play for North, as was Lachlan Maranta as well. Brendan Gibb, who's played most of the year with North but does have that NRL experience. So they were, had a lot of big ins in that team, but the Dolphins, they gave up start, they come back strong, and like you said, Swampy, in that second half, they had all the field position and all the ball in the right place. They probably had, by right, should have run over North in that second half.
And look, let's not forget there were no tries scored by North in the second half. The Finns' defence was good except for that opening 20 minutes, and really the last try that North scored was on the stroke of half time. It was about the 35th minute. There were 3 back-to-back penalties that really just killed the Finns right up to half time. John Dixon, I imagine, was probably tearing his hair out, one of those real coach killers. The first one came when the Finns were in attack looking to go to the break, and it would have been, I think, 18-16 had they scored a try there, but they got penalised in attack. They got penalised twice in defence. You give a team like North with a very, very good back line there with Daniel Ogden at fullback. You give them 5 tackles on the 10-metre line with a couple of minutes before half-time. They know what to do. They scored the try, and all of a sudden we were going to the break at 22-12 with the Finns 10 points down, and very tough times from there. So
yeah, it makes it tough.
Really frustrating day, I think, for the players and certainly for the fans' perspective as well.
Yeah.
So the week off, though, coming up, though.
Yeah, they got the week off, and then they head, well, it doesn't get any easier. They take on the Ipswich Jets the following week at Ipswich on a Saturday afternoon, which is always a tough game. Just back to that Sunday game too, I guess when luck's against you, things don't work out. Of course, Delroy Berryman, after scoring a great try in the first half where he regathered a crossfield kick and grabbed it again for himself to score. In the second half, late in that second half, which would have most likely levelled things up after a conversion, he leapt high again for a bomb, and as he went to put it down, he unfortunately put it down on a North Devils defender's boot, and the ball rolled loose. So, when your luck's out, isn't it? And
let's not forget either Zach Strasser, as we gave a little bit of whisper to in last Thursday's show, was out for that game. So
suspended,
a few of those combinations that we've been used to seeing from the Finns just weren't there. Jerry Bond slowing into 5'8", and Dean and Kemp playing fullback, and look, it just didn't look quite like that same Finns team, did it? A lot of the work did fall to Luke Capewell, and it made him a very easy target for some of those very big boppers for North. And Brendan Gibb, for mine, Matty, was just absolutely outstanding in that game for North. He was huge.
Yeah, he played very, very well, Brendan Gibb, and he is a quality player, no doubt. Turning our attention now to other sport, we spoke to him last weekend, Terry Kirkham, coach of the Moreton Bay Jets. How did they go against the Olympic, Swamp?
Look, it was an honourable loss, if you can call it one. They say there are none in sport, but look, it was a pretty good effort from the Jets. Olympic are just well on top of the National Premier League table at the moment. They're 10 points clear of their nearest rivals, so they are the team to beat, and unfortunately it was a 3-1 loss for the Jets. The Jets only down 1-0 at half-time, though, so really, really good effort there. And I didn't see the game myself, but probably a few tired legs, especially from some young players that the Terriers had to blood there in that Jets team with a few of their big names. Unfortunately, a lot of their strikers out makes it very tough to score against the top place team in the competition. So 3-1 loss there to Olympic. What it does mean to the Jets overall, we're coming up to about the halfway point in the competition. The Jets sit in 7th place, Matty. They take on the 8th place Western Pride at home this week. So if you are keen to see what the NPL is all about and the kind of football you're likely to see and what kind of team the Jets are, they are at home this weekend, Saturday night from 7 p.m. And of course their home ground is Walter Park at Albany Creek. And I believe it's actually a double header there. So if you're keen for some local soccer, get along to there. I think the Albany Creek Excelsior are playing in the Brisbane Premier League in the lead up to that match. So the good thing about I suppose where the National Premier League is at for the moment, and especially for the Jets, is beyond Olympic, there's actually quite a congested leaderboard in that top 6 that will go through to final. So the Jets do need to win this one against the Western Pride. The Pride will overtake them if they do manage to get the win. But if the Jets can sneak 3 points here, they'll be in a pretty good spot as we move into about the halfway point of the season there. So it's all rolling along okay for the very young Jets.
Yeah, we continue to wish them the best of SportsFeva luck. Now, been a while since we've tracked the progress of the Caboolture Lions. What's news with them, Swamp?
Look, it's been a bit of a tough start for the season for the Lions, Matty. Of course, this year moving up into Division 2, which we talked about earlier in the year. So this is a higher standard of competition that the Lions are moving up into. And look, entirely to plan, you'd say. 0-4 to start the season. Haven't managed to jag a win yet. But of course, this is a very tough competition and a lot of very, very big and very well established Australian rules clubs like your Aspleys, like your Sandgates, playing in this competition that traditionally the players in the Lions have gone to at the 16, 17, 18-year-old mark when they want to play up higher. So this is a real, I suppose, development year, if you will, for the Lions to see what this competition is about. But their players used to the standard of competition. So unfortunately not so good to start the season. Promising signs, though, they have had a bit of a shellacking in the opening 3 weeks of the year, but did go down last weekend, but managed to kick 10 goals, which is their best attacking effort to date in their last game. So good to see that despite going down in those matches, the Lions certainly managed to put a few more points on the board last weekend, which you would think points to some improvement in that group. So hopefully they can put a tough start behind them and really start to, I suppose, compete at that top level. They'll actually host Wynnum at Alexander Bar Oval this Saturday. So you are keen for some local footy. Everything kicks off at 2:15 for the seniors at Alexander Bar Oval, just of course off Beerburn Road there. So I'm sure the boys would very much appreciate the support of a home crowd. And just wrapping up the other Moreton Bay team in that competition, Matty, the Redcliffe Tigers, who of course won the competition last year and earned promotion into Division 2 with the Lions. They've had a better start to the year. They've started 2-2. And they take on Yeronga South Brisbane away from home this weekend. So, see what, if anything's probably likely to get the Lions fired up is that the Tigers are doing a little bit better than them in the season. So it's always a fantastic local derby there whenever those two teams play. So the Tigers doing a little bit better than the Lions. I think they're sitting about middle of the table at the moment.
Yeah, promising, there's a few promising signs there, though, from the Lions. And like you said, nothing will fire up a lion like a firing tiger. That's an old saying from the jungle, Swamp. Write that one down.
You spent most time in the jungle, Matty?
I spent a couple of years there in the late 90s, Swamp. So,
right.
Yep, don't doubt me again, mate. Now, our other team, speaking of jungles, I don't know if they come from it. Does a firebird come from a jungle? I've never seen any in my time in the jungle, but I think they come from somewhere around a jungle, don't they? A firebird?
What is a firebird, Matty? You're the jungle expert.
It's a bird of fire, Swamp. Didn't you know that? Don't you know what a firebird is? Well, I know what the firebirds we're talking about. They're a very, very good netball team.
They are a very, very good netball team indeed. 6 from 7 to open the season. SportsFeva bump set the direction of the Firebirds and doing the job there. And just an outstanding effort from the Firebirds there. And last up, win 25 points over the Tactics without of two stars of that team, you'd say, in Laura Geitz and Chelsea Pittman. A lot of young players blooded in that match, and coming out with a huge 25-point win. Of course, a very good friend of the show and Redcliffe local Jacinta Mesa at goal defence for the opening three quarters of that game, and actually got a rest for a few of the younger players on the bench in the fourth quarter. The Firebirds were that far ahead, so just outstanding work from the Firebirds so far. We're officially now over the halfway point in the ANZ Championship too, Matty, so only... Well, from this round, seven games to go for the Firebirds, and I think sitting in third place just on goal difference. But just what an effort to only have dropped that one game for the season so far.
Yeah, super effort. Now, good friend Jacinta Mesa is in great form for them as well, and they take on the Melbourne Vixens this Sunday down at Hisense Arena. So best of luck to them this Sunday as they take on the Vixens.
And now, just very quickly on that, Matty, if anyone's keen to watch that on TV, it's actually the game of the round on SBS2, so you can catch that live on Sunday afternoon if you are keen to watch.
Yep, absolutely. Make sure you tune in to see some quality netball coverage. And now I better let you... I had a little bit of a dig about you last week in the NDA.
You had a little chip, didn't you?
I had to get it in, Swamp, because I don't think there'll be too many times. You're all conquering Miami Heat after dropping one game to the Chicago Bulls.
How have they gone?
Well, they've won the next three after that.
They have won the next three, didn't they?
Yeah, but let's remember the Bulls don't have their best player and everything like that. So let's not get carried away. It's only conference semi-final time in the conference finals in the East. There, you still either have to get past the Knicks or the Pacers in the East. So you're not home yet, Swamp.
No, and look, unfortunately for the Bulls, they've probably outdone themselves this season without, of course, star point guard Derek Rose for the whole year. Another one of their very good players sitting on the bench at the moment, of course, is Luol Deng. So probably you'd think the game one was probably it for all the injury-ravaged Bulls had this year, which is a real shame because that team at full strength is, I'll tell you what, that's a game of basketball you'd love to watch with the likes of, the Noahs, the Dengs and the Roses going up, of course, that star Miami lineup. So unfortunate for the Bulls, but of course Miami playing for the semi-final win today. And how you did jump on the Knicks, Matty, as well in the East.
They're not going great,
How are they travelling at the moment?
They're not going great. They're still in it, though. Let's not rule them out.
No, they're not. They're not. The Pacers doing well there. And I suppose on the Australian update, the Australian sort of playoff series there with the San Antonio Spurs and Patrick Mills, of course, going up against Andrew Bogut's Golden State Warriors there. That's a fantastic series that's going on at the moment, and probably the pick of the four series that are going with San Antonio leading 3-2 at the moment, but back to Golden State for Game 6.
Yeah, absolutely. That's been a crackerjack series. Golden State punching well above their weight and playing some great basketball. A couple of games going to overtime and double overtime and triple overtime. Fantastic series there as well. And the other series we haven't mentioned, of course, is the Russell Westbrook-less OKC, Oklahoma City Thunder, on the ropes against the Memphis Grizzlies.
The Grizzlies doing the job. Mike Conley and point guard playing very, very well. And last year's finalists, of course, with the Miami Heat, and plenty of people, said that was the first we were going to see of an Oklahoma City dynasty with that young sort of group of players they have. But the Grizzlies doing the job and really having Oklahoma on the ropes at 3-1. So very interesting to see how that's. I don't think Oklahoma are done yet there, Matty. I think we'll definitely see a Game 6, but interesting to see how that does pan out.
Yeah, no, some great basketball still to come in this series, Swamp, no doubt about it. Looking forward to it. Now, are you going to come back next week? Will you be here?
Look, you can put that song away. You will see my face again tomorrow morning, I promise.
Oh, very good. Very good, Swamp, because...
SportsFeva stamp sound effect. Stamp it. I'll be back.
I still haven't got Joey onto that. I'll have to get an actual one because that's not great sound effects there from the sound effects department. But I'll leave it with me, Swamp. I've got a week to get it before you get back, and I look forward to talking all things sport with you again next Thursday morning.
Will do, and best of luck to the Snakies this weekend in the Sunshine Coast, Matty. I'm going to go away from my tip last year. I reckon that they're specials to get one over the undefeated Dolphins this weekend.
I hope that doesn't put the knock on you, mate. So anyway, I'm about to preview the whole round with our good friend, CEO of the Sunshine Coast Gympie Rugby League, James Ward. So make sure you try and tune into a radio if you can, Swamp.
I will be there listening to all morning.
Righto, good on you, mate. Talk to you next week.
Bye.
Peter Swampy Marsh there with SportsFeva Light. Couldn't make it into the studio today, but like we said, still plenty of sport to always talk about with Swampy. Stand by though, after this one from Jackson Brown, we'll have a chat to James Ward about the Sunshine Coast and Gympie Rugby League. Now to talk some Sunshine Coast and Gympie Rugby League, a big weekend ahead. Round 2 is upon us, and this is going to become a regular segment when we talk to the CEO of the comp, James Ward, about this time every Thursday morning during SportsFeva. It's big good morning to you, James. How are you today, mate?
Mate, really well. Looking forward to another weekend of footy.
Mate, it should be great. Round 1 was a crackerjack. Now we had to wait another week, and we're back into it now. Round 2, some really good games, some games I'm really excited about, and it all kicks off at well, the big one, Maroochydore take on Noosa at Maroochydore on Saturday.
Yeah, look, two sides that showed some promise through the early rounds of the pre-season, and I think they'll be itching to get a crack at each other again.
Yeah, exciting game. Of course, Noosa were tipped strongly in that round 1, and Caboolture, after we spoke to Chuck Tomlinson, coach of Caboolture, he went up there very bullish about their chances, and they come away with a big victory at Pirate Park. We know Noel Galthorpe was out. Any news if he will play this weekend, James?
Mate, I'd suggest it'd be unlikely, but I can't confirm one way or the other, but very unlikely.
Very unlikely. So, well, I reckon Noosa will bounce back in that one on Saturday at Maroochydore, but should still be a crackerjack game full of quality players on both sides. Now, the one we're looking forward to here at Caboolture, in this Caboolture region, is our local team, the Caboolture Snakes, taking on the all-conquering Kawana Dolphins at the Snake Pit on Saturday night. This will be a crackerjack game.
Mate, want to get there early to get a good seat, I'd say, mate. But, I think people will be flowing down the highway from Kawana to watch this match-up. It'll be an absolute beauty, as you've said, and one definitely not to miss.
Now, James, I'm not sure, a question without notice, and you might have to get back to us next week, particularly if they do end up beating the Snakes. Winning streaks, Kawana would be on some type of be close to some type of record, I imagine, winning streak wise, would they, after going through undefeated in the year proper last year and starting the year with another victory? Any idea on what the winning streak record is in the Sunny Coast Gympie Rugby League top grade?
No, you have got me on the spot, mate. Not off the top of my head, but in saying that, something we'll have a look at the record book shortly, I'd say, is it's starting to become something very, very significant. A
little bit of homework there for you, James. We'll report back on that one next week.
Thanks, mate.
Mate, the other game involving our local team is Caboolture take on the Bribie Island Sea Eagles at Caloundra.
Caloundra and the Bribie Sea Eagles, yeah, look, the Bribie Sea Eagles showing very, very strong signs early in the season, and Caloundra, they would be the first to admit they go through a rebuild at the moment. It'll be a tough day out for the Caloundra boys if they can't start well. In saying that, it's at Shark Park at Caloundra, and they're always a better side at home. Yeah, they find a few legs at Shark Park, that's for sure. And good luck also to the Bribie Island Warrigals in that reserve grade clash. That's at 4:45 for any Bribie locals that want to head up and look at that one. Now, on Sunday, the final game of the round is a couple of, I guess, traditional rivals. The Nambour take on Gympie, and always a lot of feeling in this game, James. But another one that shapes up as a really, really good matchup. You know, they played each other during the pre-season. I think from memory there was only about 6 or 8 points in it. I think Nambour might have got the chocolates in that one. But look, Gympie have bounced back with a few player signings and returning players, and whilst they will be on the road, they'll be a whole different kettle of fish down at Nambour on Sunday. Yeah, that should be a great game on Sunday. Great to see Sunday afternoon football. And also, it would be remiss of us not to mention the Red Rooster Cup. I'm loving these double headers, and we get to see a couple of more double headers this Saturday when Kawana and Beachmere and Biwa and Pomona Coran take on, do the double header at Biwa, and then Kilcoy and Coolum and Palmwoods and Yandina do the double header at Palmwoods. Another great afternoon of footy on Saturday in the C grade. Yeah, another couple of venues that'll be putting on a show this weekend for the Red Rooster Cup. And just to add to the afternoon at Biwa on Saturday, there's a women's match between the Biwa girls and their opponents from Brisbane. And I've just got to add that the Biwa women competed in a representative carnival in Gladstone last weekend to the selection trials for the Central Division women's team, where 10 of those ladies from Biwa were selected in the squad of 18, which is absolutely outstanding.
Yeah, that is a fantastic effort, isn't it? So that'll be a fantastic game. So that slots in, I think, between those two C grade games, does it, James?
Yes,
that
it
game?
does, mate. Yes, they'll jump in between the two men's matches, and should be a great afternoon at Biwa.
Yeah, get along to, and it's a great place to watch Biwa, the footy at Biwa as well. So we're playing your Saturday afternoon for everyone in the region to get along to that one, James.
Mate, there's football on all over the place, so if you miss out on the game, it's your own fault.
That's it. Too much footy is never enough. Thanks very much for your time, James. We'll talk to you again about this time next Thursday morning.
Look forward to doing that again. Thanks a lot, mate.
Cheers. Thanks, James. James Ward there, the CEO of the Sunshine Coast Gympie Rugby League, giving us a rundown of the big weekend ahead in the Sunny Coast Gympie Rugby League competition, of course. A game we're all excited about here in the Caboolture region. Caboolture v Kawana, the Snakes versus the Dolphins. Under 18s kicks us off at 3:15, reserve grade at 5:15, and then the main game at the Snake Pit, 6:30pm. The Snakes take on the all-conquering Kawana Dolphins, of course, through the season last year, undefeated, won their first game. Snakies went up to Noosa, knocked over the high-flying Scott Hill-led Noosa Pirates. So that'll be a great game. Make sure you get along to the Snake Pit Saturday night. Bring a jumper because it'll be cold. It's always cold at the Snake Pit, no matter what the weather's like during the day. It always gets chilly there at the Snake Pit, and that makes it all that much harder for the visiting Sunny Coast teams to play it. So looking forward to that one. Get along to that, and we'll no doubt cover off on that one in depth next week on SportsFeva.